For more on the current weather phenomenon across South Africa, let's now speak to South African Weather Service weather forecaster Molebohene Manthata, and she joins us via our video link. Molebohene, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Of course, we've seen various pictures doing the rounds on social media, some enjoying, the snow which has befallen our country, but at the same time, also there are those, as we've seen in that clip, saying that it's extremely cold. Why would you say, as much as we know that there is this cold front, why would you say that we are experiencing these kind of temperatures, even though as South Africa, we've been so used to much more warmer winters?
Hi, thank you for having me. I think in the case of today, it's just the combination of the systems that we had. We had a cold front that passed over the country last night, and followed by that there was a raging high, and in the upper air there was an steep upper trough that cut off along the central parts of Mpumalanga. So all of those systems resulted in a cold pool of polar air over the country, and especially the eastern parts, and therefore we saw the snowfalls that happened even in the south of Gauteng. So yeah, that's just basically the combination of the systems that we had.
And would you say that it is quite unusual for us to get this kind of weather, especially those living in Gauteng, because with the last time we saw snow was indeed in 2012. And when you talk about this day in particular and how cold this day is, some are saying that it's actually even the coldest day we've experienced.
Yes, it is the coldest day we've experienced this year, especially over Gauteng and the eastern provinces. And as for it being unusual, I would say you could say it's unusual, especially for Gauteng. The last snow we had was in the 7th of August, 2012, as you said. And I think before then it was sometime in the 90s. So it is quite unusual for Gauteng, but for the rest of the provinces, like the Cape provinces, it's a usual thing to happen for them. Yeah.
And when we experience such temperatures, especially in parts where it's not normal, would you attribute, these temperatures to climate change, perhaps?
I think, it's not my area of expertise. I think a climatologist or a climate scientist would be more suited to answer that question. But I would not say that it is climate change. As far as I know, with our seasonal forecast, it just says that we have exited the La Nina season and we're going into the El Nino season, and that presents a bit of, cooling in your sea surface temperatures. So that affects also the atmospheric conditions. But as for it being climate change, I wouldn't be the best person to answer that question, unfortunately. Yeah.
And Molebohene, if maybe you could also give us a bit of advice, what else can we expect this week? Should we expect a very cold week in many parts of the country, or, is this for a day or two? How long can we expect these cold temperatures to last?
So our 7-day forecast does predict the cold to very cold conditions persisting. For tomorrow, we still expect very cold conditions, especially for the Mpumalanga central to southern areas. And then for the rest of the country, it will be cold. And then in the rest, towards the end of the week, it will remain still cold to cool conditions, but cooling just to the low-felt areas of Limpopo and Mpumalanga. Otherwise, we're still expecting chilly conditions. So please stay warm, I guess, is what we could say. Yeah.
And yeah, I was actually going to ask you as a last question, what would be your advice to South Africans as we continue to face such cold temperatures?
Stay warm, have your hot chocolate ready and handy, hot water bottle, whatever you can do just to keep warm is what we could advise. Yeah.
All right, Molebohene, thank you so much for your time. That is Molebohene from the South African Weather Service saying it is going to be very cold for this week here in South Africa. And she's saying stay warm and make sure that that hot chocolate is near you at all times.